to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Needles, can you take roll call for the record, please?
Sure. Commissioner Bacco?
Here.
Commissioner Gaudioso?
Here.
Commissioner Brakowski?
Here.
Commissioner Neary?
Here.
Michael Pierce? Lisa Catania? Myself, George Needles, present.
Thank you. This time I'll take citizen comments. Anybody on the right side of the room would like to come up and speak? Excuse me, sir. We're going to get you a microphone so that way you can speak.
Testing, testing.
Frank Papaleo, 2224 Chichester Avenue.
Yes, sir.
I bought my house 3 years ago. At the time, they told me, the inspectors told me the house needed to have a new curb put in. I wanted to put the new curb in, and I went to ask the inspectors, when I put the curb in, I want to put poles in front of my house so I don't have to replace this curb every year. Now, if you look at my house where I'm situated across the street from the driveway to the school, as a matter of fact, I myself almost got killed 2 weeks ago waiting to turn into my driveway, and somebody decided to ride up on the curb and almost nailed me from the right. I don't see any reason to replace a curb when you go down the street and the township replaced all these curbs in front of abandoned gas stations, in front of profitable gas stations. And then the township manager tells me, well, the township's going to put new curbs in anyway, coming down further. So then why do I have to lay out money that I don't have? I'm a sick man. I'm on dialysis. I'm recovering from COVID. And now I can't sell my house because of this. Because I don't have the money to put out for this, nor do I think it's a right that I have to. The house was inspected so well that when I moved in, I wasn't there 2 days and I had to replace practically all the plumbing. So the inspector can't be doing that good of a job. Now, the other part of it is everything here is the same as it was 3 years ago. Now he's complaining about the sidewalk. There's nothing wrong with my sidewalk. Now, I mean, why would you replace a curb you know you're going to have to replace again in a year?
My understanding is when the house was sold, there was an agreement that the curb would be replaced.
And I'm not arguing that point. I'm admitting that.
And we have it signed here. So
I admit that.
So we have a lot of curbs in our township that are in poor condition. And what the board has done is when a house goes up for sale, that's the time when we have asked the homeowners to fix their sidewalks. The house went up for sale several years ago, as you indicated, and there was an agreement between you and the seller to replace the curb. And we gave you a year to do it. So the year is up. Now you're in the process of selling it again.
Well, because of my health, I have no choice.
Correct.
But my point is, I was ready to put the curb in, but they told me I couldn't put poles up to keep cars from riding my sidewalk. Now, I mean, I'm sorry. I need some kind of protection here, too. I don't own the curb, but it's up to me to replace the curb.
No, you own the curb, sir.
Well, then why was I stopped from putting poles in if I put a new curb?
I can't answer that question. I don't. Maybe there's some.
Well, see, the township needs to meet people halfway. I mean, we pay outrageous taxes here.
Well, I've given you 2 minutes. So right now, we have an agreement that the curb needs to be replaced. We actually gave you a year to do this, sir. And I understand that that COVID came and there was unforeseen circumstances, and I apologize about that. But when do we push off the onus to the new homeowner?
Well, how about the township manager telling me that the township's going to replace the curbs anyway, and as soon as they secure the funding?
I have no idea whether my township manager said that, but he can speak for himself.
Is he here?
Sir, so I believe during the conversation today, what I indicated to you was that we are doing a Chichester Avenue streetscape project from Lawhead, currently up past I-95.
Right, and then you said they were going to come down
which is where we've acquired funding.
Thank you.
And it is the will of the board that over some time, that streetscape project is continued throughout the township down Chichester Avenue. However, I have no guarantees or ability to put a timeline on when that would come to your property, if it would.
So in other words, basically, I could just put the curb in and I can fight this in court with a lawyer. Is that what you're telling me, basically? Because I will take this to court.
Yes.
Because this makes no sense to put a curb in that's going to have to be replaced in a year. If they would have let me put the poles in, I wouldn't be here right now. This curb would have been done. Well, then let the state put the curb in. I mean, you want me to keep putting this curb in, and every couple of years, it's going to be the same thing. You stand out there in the morning, tractor trailers, buses, fire engines, whatever, all ride my curb.
Right. I understand your frustration, but the house was originally sold between you and the original
I'm going to go
owner.
back to that. We know
Okay, but that's what you agreed to.
I agree. Yes,
and
I said I would have kept the agreement, but I wanted to be met halfway.
Well, this is the first time I ever heard about you wanting to put poles up.
I never talked to you.
I thank you for coming. I thank you for expressing your concerns. I don't know if the township's going to end what you had signed here about putting the curb up. I would suggest that if you want to contact your lawyer, he can contact ours, and maybe we can work something there.
You said with counsel? You said you don't know.
If you have any legal counsel, I would suggest that you contact our solicitor, and hopefully we can. All right.
Can I ask a question?
Waste of time.
Can I ask a question?
Shysters.
What's the 2,200 in escrow? Whose is that?
I took that and I was going to put the curb in right after I moved in, and they would just let me put the poles on.
But is the money still sitting in
I still have
escrow?
the money in my bank. Yes.
Can that be used for it? Would that help?
That's not the point.
I'm just trying to help you.
I get you're trying to help, but the point is, this is a redundant thing.
Well, why do you feel they had to be replaced in another year? If you sell your place, I'm just saying, if you sell your place.
You okay, sir? Are you okay?
No, I was explain to you. Where I lived here, I lived in Philadelphia. At 4 o'clock. They came to me and wanted to replace the curb. I did. First time I got a letter in the mail from the city that my curb needed to be replaced. I went through the same battle with them. I said, I'm going to do it again if I put poles on. No poles, the curb stays the way it is. I'm not saying I don't want to put the curb in. You know where tractor trailer doesn't get curb. What you have to do is sit by the house, especially when school's in session. School buses lined up, turn in, all the trucks, everything, go around the right side of the school bus. No, let's face it, I'm supposed to get a school bus, they all go.
I'll just end it with here. You just said that you're willing to put the curb in, correct? You just stated that. So if you're willing to put the curb in and you're selling the house, it's no longer your problem. It'll be the new homeowners. Okay. All right. Thank you.
I'm Martin Smith, address 2334 Douglas and 2340 Douglas. Last time we met, last month, at the last township meeting, we discussed the street being done by the township. Reason being that back in 1979, when they first put the street in, they didn't do it all the way to the end of the street.
Yep.
Okay.
We know the whole history.
Okay.
So there's really,
So-
you don't.
So let me finish.
Yeah, right. Go ahead.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
There's nobody else in here except for us.
I know, and I'm trying to help you. I told
Right,
you.
but, okay,
me,
so-
me and Commissioner Whitaker.
So we
are
said-
pushing
we
to get the road done.
Did you say that that the township warden, commissioner in my township, my ward, go handle it, allocate the funds to do the street. Right?
We are going to, the township is going to take on the burden of redoing the street, not
Okay.
you,
Right.
Mr. Smith, okay?
Okay, so we did work today on the street. All right, we cleared. We had a punch list given from Nicole, township engineer, said this is what we need to do. Okay. So on the punch list, it said that we were supposed to clear the cartway in front of the property line that we own at the end of the street. So we did that. We started removing the dirt and trying to clear the debris from there, right? So we called the township today and we asked somebody to come out and look. Okay. And while we were doing it, what happened was, as they were trying to clear the cartway, we were told to do on the punch list, there was a flood of water that came from the flooded area that we just cleaned up. And the water came down, we flooded the area that we tried to clean up. Okay, so we can't fix it. Not our responsibility. We just said that you were going to do the township was going to do the street. So we can't clear it. That needs to be removed from the punch list. I have the plans right here that was approved by the township engineer. Okay, on the plans, it says rough grade driveway, place a layer of crushed stone for stabilization while site is in construction. That's number 7 on the approved plans. Number 8, extend curb sidewalk and half the courtway of Douglas Avenue in the path, installed a concrete curb and sidewalk immediately following the grading. Did that. But number 12, driveway is to be stabilized with crushed stone or paving following the completion of construction. We did that. And we get a punch list, says we have to put a driveway in there. We did that. It's asphalt. Okay. So everything is completed according to the plans that was approved.
I'll let my township engineer address whether the punch list a bit. Go ahead.
Mr. Smith here, Mr. Martin Smith here does not have an attorney. And hold on.
Wait a second.
You said something. No,
Guys,
hold on.
Guys, let's
no.
stop
First of all, it was citizens' comments. Let me finish my comment, and then you can say what you want to say. He wants the meeting, not you.
Guys, please, but
Here's the deal. All the stuff is done on the punch list. It doesn't have anything to do with the litigation. Everything that she requested is done. Period. She said, replace S&S controls on the south end. Remove stockpiles, regrade area at the end of the cartway for positive drainage. We did that. Remove construction entrance, mud, remove drive stone. Supplement 8-inch 2A stone paved first, 25 feet from driveway. Grades should match the last revised on August the 5th, 2019. Grades, areas, we did everything. And we did more than what was on the plans. The plan said crushed stone. And we did asphalt. We did asphalt. We did everything that she said to do. That's period. Regardless if we're in litigation or not. We did everything that was supposed to be done. And paid out of pocket, our pocket. So we can get reimbursed in the litigation, sir. Not what's the name of this? And also, you guys got $15,000 from us, right? In escrow, right? You got two projects. Last meeting we had, you said that the grading, $15,000 was for grading. I got two project IDs for grading. One is for the street, and one is for the daggone property. I got it right here. Project ID. You got project ID 776540487. Grading. $1,586 in the negative for the grading. Then you have $15,000. Project ID 76535405537. That's two separate project IDs for grading. One was for the street, and one was for the daggone grading. What, you're shaking your head. What is it, then? What is it? Explain it to me.
I think here, so you're advising us not to discuss this any further.
Well, meanwhile, we can't live in a daggone house while you're discussing it and doing it. And we did everything that we were supposed to do according to the plans.
I don't know the whole story. I don't know why you're in litigation at this point in time with.
We're in litigation because the person who did the first project person didn't do the job and walked off the job. So we had to redo it. We had to redo everything on a revised plan, and we did it to the revised plan, and it's done. So what else is there to do? Wait till we get paid from the person who left the job and did it wrong, and then that's not what we did. Everything we paid out of pocket to get it fixed according to the plan.
Well, right now, can we issue CO with the litigation?
To answer the question about the two different IDs, the first ID is a grading permit ID, and that is for engineering, inspections, legal. That's the first one. That's that negative. The other is the escrow for the improvements. It included all grading, all the work in the street, sidewalk, curb,
all the work in the street,
seepage bed.
All the work in the street, which we're not responsible for. No, you see what I'm saying, right?
We gave you the courtesy to listen. Now, would you please listen?
You just had the street.
All right. Let's just end the conversation.
We paid $30 more than we supposed to pay for our property. After it was messed up. Then we do it, and then everybody sits here and act like they ain't done. See, last time we came in, she said the grass wasn't even growing.
All right, Mr. Smith.
Come out there and look.
All right. We're going to move on. Thank you.
And she's supposed to be inspecting and even look. Then today, she said, right here in the email, she said today, there was no flooding. A daggone movie of it flooding from the daggone, what's it called? It's a swamp down there. It's freaking turtle walking around the damn street. Turtle. Come on. That's not right.
We're going to move on. Thank you for coming out tonight. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Yes. Thank you.
Greg Trader, I'm 2355. So I'm across the street from his property and just one house further up. So when I went down to look at the end of the street, first of all, Douglas slopes down, and when you get to the end, there's a low point. And we were talking when you left this morning. What happens is I've been there since 2008, and every summer you get a growth of vegetation and stuff. It grows as high as it grows.
And we're trying to fix that.
When they did the excavation, now keep in mind, before they did the excavation for the house, it was always growth in the summertime. There was always vegetation. When they did the excavation, they created a mound, and so there was more dirt for more growth. When they removed that mound, what was behind the mound, which it's a real slight incline, which means the low point is right at the very edge of where the street is paved. So what started to come back was what had collected behind the excavation mound. And it is, I didn't know that was back there, but it is a huge pond. And now what we got is, wait, let me talk.
Can you please?
Let me talk. So what we got now is not only a haven for mosquitoes, but whatever other stuff, it may have snakes that will find a home down there. So it's an unsafe environment.
You're talking about the very end, right, Greg?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, we're putting that on our street program, and
Right.
we're going to try to rectify all that situation.
Right.
Okay.
So I guess my question is, well, Nicole's not here. I was wondering if she found extra money in any fund that she had available to her to get some work started on this.
What, the street program?
Yeah, for the street.
It's going to be on the street program.
They'll start work on it later this month. Wait, let me.
Mr. Smith, please.
Too long.
Come on.
I've been courteous too long.
Come on, Mike.
Too long. Hold on. I've been courteous too long.
Greg,
Here's
we're
what's
gonna.
going on.
No,
The street
Mr.
needs
Smith,
to be
you
done.
had your time to speak. Greg, look at me. I'm trying my best to get this done.
Yeah, I just wanted to know
Okay.
about when you think.
Hopefully, towards the end of the month is when we're going to start the road program. Go ahead, Lisa. Well, I think
Martin,
Okay,
please.
question.
I think we'll try to.
Wait a minute. Let them address what I'm
If we take it out of the
asking.
general fund, then do all that, can we get reimbursed?
Can she move streets that's on our list by not doing this street going to the next one? All right.
I do, just if I could just speak for 1 second, George Neals, Township Manager. I do believe that it would be feasible to do the resurfacing of that area with general funds based off of our financial position this year. My concern is that you understand what the expectation is, because what I'm hearing it from is a bunch of different things. So we do a road resurfacing program, which means milling the top layer of an existing road and then putting down blacktop. This is not road construction. So I know there was some talk about wanting to extend that road further down from where the pavement stops today. So what everyone here is talking about is simply milling out what is there and putting a surface over top of that.
Martin, please.
From a construction of a road purpose, that is a much greater significant project. It means coordinating and getting Chester Water Authority to put their lines in. It means getting Southern Delaware County Authority to put their lines in. It means putting curbing and sidewalk. It's a much greater project. At this point, Commissioner Whitaker has asked me to look into what some of these costs would be to do a greater project to potentially build out some of these unbuilt roads in the Twin Oaks Village area. However, that is a separate conversation than what they were speaking about. What they're speaking about would be simply milling what is there and resurfacing it.
So, okay, so if you're talking about, Martin, would you let me have a conversation, please? So let me have this conversation. Well, just stop interrupting. Okay, so if you're talking about the general fund, is that the fastest way, the quickest way to get something done about the end of this road? Because right now, I think we have something that's approaching safety concern because of deer ticks. We have deer that go through there, and we do have children on the street. So I'm putting it now more in an area of safety concerns, since we have so much water that has collected down that end and continues every time we get a really hard rain like we did a couple. So what is the fastest way to have something done?
The concern before was that the water was laying because of the construction debris at the end of the roadway. However, I think we all know that if we were to go back to that area, it's an undeveloped area. It's wooded. There's a tributary that runs through that area. It's wet in a lot of areas back there. So candidly, I don't know if you ever fix the water problem down there without a major stormwater project and major development back there.
And what would it take to get that done?
I mean, it depends on what the scale and scope of what the project that would be decided would be. We don't have ownership of much land down there, so I don't think that.
Well, who has ownership of the street, the extension of the street?
Well, I think it's an undeveloped road, so I think that the paper street. So I mean, I'm not the lawyer on that.
In terms of ownership. Suppose that township had a reason to do it. I'm suggesting that we have a safety issue that might allow the township to go in and clear that area, do something that takes up the water. Martin, would you let me talk, please? But I'm not done with this conversation. Would you allow me?
All right, guys, look, Greg, I have to stop it, okay?
Stop all the daggone line. This is the street. No, it's not my property.
Please.
It's the street. It's not my property.
Greg, we're gonna move on.
Did we do that? Did we not do that according to the plan? Y'all be talking about stuff after we leave.
More than welcome to, but please no outbursts, and we're just gonna go over our agendas and vote on items. That said, can I have approval of the minutes from the July 8th, 2021 Board of Commissioners meeting?
So moved.
Second it.
One minor adjustment, page 71, line 25 should say ballrooms, not Baldwins. That's the only thing I found.
All right, so motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
I'm sorry. Oh, I thought you had another comment.
Nah, I knew it. Though.
All right. Motion and a second,
Mr.
all in
Wright.
favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried. Item number 6 on the agenda, we're going to table it for this month. I believe Commissioner Whitaker should be present during this time period. So we're going to table this and then we'll discuss it at a later time, which would be next month.
Is that why we're tabling? Because she's not here?
Correct. I think it'd be in the best interest that she be present.
It's in the best interest of certain people, yeah. Okay.
Mr. Pierce, is the Sunshine Act, do we have to have everything that's on the agenda 24 hours prior? New Sunshine Act. New.
Item number 7. A member of board consider a resolution authorizing escrow release number 7, Propco Pavilion Guzman LLC in an amount of $37,107.
So moved.
Second it.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried.
That is resolution 2021-37.
Have a member of the board consider a motion accepting the extension granted by William Massaro for his subdivision land development application for 650 Cherry Tree Road.
So moved.
Second it.
Motion in the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried. Item number 9, have a member of the board consider a motion accepting the extension granted by Anthony Negro on behalf of Dispatch Patel for his land development application for 464 Chichester Highway.
So moved.
Second it.
Motion in the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried. Item number 10. Have a member of the board consider a motion accepting the extension granted by Steve Conrad for his land development application 4881 Chichester Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
Motion in the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried. Item number 11, have a member of the board consider a resolution approving the escrow release for MIPC 920 Cherry Tree Road in the amount of $24,710.08.
So moved.
Question.
Yes.
Who's not
Second.
second? Okay.
Question. Could we hold any of this money for that work they were supposed to do for us and never did?
We can't hold this for those trees. It's not directly related to this project, but I did have a conversation with Adam Gattuso, their government affairs rep, and he is interested in redonating the trees for that project again.
Any other comments? Motion in the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried. Item number 12, we'll have our Vice Chairman, Commissioner Joe Bacco.
Consider a motion authorizing request number 2 from Premier Concrete Incorporated for the Chichester Avenue Streetscape project in the amount of $206,321.40.
So moved. Second.
Motion in the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, the motion is carried. For item numbers 13 through 16, we'll have Commissioner Ed Rakowski read.
George, you sure you got me right there? It's like, hold on. Yeah. Thank you. I move to appoint Nicole Whitaker as the Upper Chichester Township Delegate to the Pennsylvania Municipal League Annual Meeting.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried.
The second one is I consider. Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
going to consider somebody to. So I consider.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
fine. It don't matter.
Consider a motion appointing Edward Rakowski as the Upper Chichester Township alternate delegate to the Pennsylvania Municipal League annual meeting.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Where's the second? Second. I can't second.
I'll second it. I was just gonna let it hang for a minute.
I know about it. What is that position?
All right. Second by Commissioner Neary. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is carried.
Okay, thank you. I move, I consider resolution authorizing Michael Gardioso, President of the Board of Commissioners, to sign all documents related to the agreement number 0631096, Amendment 2 regarding the utilization of various properties owned by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for emergency services training purposes.
Second.
Motion and a second. If there's no comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is carried.
That is Resolution 2021-39, and I will need all commissioners to sign that tonight.
Also, I move to accept the agreement number 0631096, Amendment 2 regarding the utilization of various properties owned by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for emergency service training purposes.
Motion and a second. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is carried. For the balance, we'll have Commissioner Joe Neary read.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consider a motion accepting the resignation of Sean Douglas from the Upper Chichester Police Department effective July 26, 2021.
Second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is carried.
Consider a motion entering into a 5-year contract with the Chichester School District for the 2 school resource officers. So moved.
Second.
Question. We'll get a final copy at some point because the. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is carried.
I'd like to announce that there's a Finance Committee budget meeting on Monday, August 23rd, 2021 at 6 p.m. at the Township Building. Finally, there's no motion there. Consider a motion approving the list of trash refunds, list number 19-08.
Second.
21, isn't it?
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is carried.
I think that should be list 2108.
We amended to 2108.
Yeah. Not on my paper. Consider a motion approving the list of bills in the amount of $439,089.15.
Second it.
So motion and a second. There's no comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is carried.
Thank you.
All right, this time we'll move on to our commissioners and professionals report. We'll start off with our solicitor, Mr. Michael Pierce.
All other matters are moved.
Any questions for our solicitor?
Yes, could you tell me the status of the demand letter to Costa?
And letter to Costa, I don't have the letter yet, but I have what goes in it, and what we need to do. I've been in consult with the engineer. I think
Okay, if you could let me know as soon as it's done so I can advise Creekside.
I will.
Thank you.
No other questions for our solicitor. We'll move on to our engineer's report. Ms. Lisa Catania.
Thank you, Mr. President. You do have a copy of my report, most of which I responded last month. Wawa, as you can see, the flagpoles are in, the lettering is on the wall. We're moving pretty close to final over in Gibbons Park. The contractor has announced that there will be lane closures. They're going to be doing the paving for the next week at Meeting House in Chichester. So if the residents out there, just to advise that you will have delays because of that construction. I've also asked the contractor to make sure that they have not only traffic control at that intersection for the traffic flow, but as well for the trucks that are entering and exiting. There'll be a lot of paving trucks that are going in and out. We don't want to have any incidents as we had last week with the milling. Just an update on Willowbrook Clubhouse. I have been advised from Willowbrook that they have completed all of our punch list items. They have not yet gotten the punch list from Southern Delaware County Authority. We are going to hold off from doing a final inspection until they have that punch list and have completed the Southern punch list so that we don't have any redundancies. The Autozone Project, we've received a request to revise that plan. They'd like to put the propane tank instead of in the back of the building, in the front of the building along Chichester Avenue. I would suggest that anybody that's interested in taking a look at the plan, George has a copy of that sketch as well as their reasonings for wanting to do so. I have a meeting tomorrow with Brian Warren to talk about the Greenways Grant. That's also in my report, and everything else has been discussed this evening.
Concerning AutoZone, are there any safety concerns with putting it out front? And if they put it out front, are they going to put some type of barrier, some type of an enclosure so it's not visible?
They are not. They're proposing that the landscaping will take care of that. I asked for specific sizes of the tanks. I have not yet sent it over. I'd like to send it over to our emergency services group, to Craig and to Bill Robinson, so that we can get an idea. I want to make sure that they're comfortable with that. And then we obviously have the aesthetics issue with all the work that we're doing with the streetscape. So I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention that there is a change in that plan.
There's,
Go ahead.
no, that's all right.
No, I was going to ask you.
Yeah, there's no Pico gas over there. I mean, that's what they're doing with. I mean,
They have way back when they started in the planning process, they had gone to Pico. Pico does not have a main to that site, so they would have to pay for the extension of the main, as I did actually when I got gas into my house, and they would pay for that as well as the service. They also get a rebate for whatever gas they're going to be utilizing in that building and in any subsequent building. So if they build lot 2, they would get a rebate from that. However, they feel that it is economically infeasible for them to put an underground gas line, and that is in the information that I sent to George this morning.
Okay. Now the lettering on the sign on Gibbons Park, that they're going to be illuminated at nighttime?
George and I were
I'm just
talking
trying to
about that
find
this
out
morning. I
how.
have not seen that yet. When I was there yesterday, they were just putting them on. So I thought I would drive past on my way back home tonight to see if they're on. I know that they pulled the wires. I don't know that it's actually operational.
So they do have the wires there for
They
that.
do have the wires there.
And we don't have an answer yet for the 2 lights on going southbound there on Sky Avenue.
I was told by Al was away with his son at Boy Scout camp. His son just got his Eagle Scout, so that's a positive thing. However, he wasn't able to get out there. In looking at the plans, we think that the reason that PennDOT required both of those is because the stop bar for that left turn lane is so far back. So it's a site issue.
Okay.
And they typically will require that. He said he will go down tomorrow, take a look, and he'll let me know, and I'll forward that to you.
Okay.
Actually drove through the 5 Points in Aston, and they have the same configuration that we do at our intersection.
All right.
Because of the site issues also. So you might want to take a drive through there.
All right. And the last question I didn't ask last week, I did because people have been asking, and I know we moved the crosswalk up there to the island by Galbraith Avenue. Is there going to be any signs that say crosswalk out there? And I did mention something to George earlier, and I don't know if you remember doing it. Are we allowed to put a solar panel, like just a yellow light, where the yellow placard is? Kind of hard to see at nighttime because I travel every day coming home. But can we get a solar power yellow light attached to that, just blinking so people, I don't know if we're allowed to do that on the medium itself.
I don't know about on the median. We have in the past put it on signs.
Right.
So I can check as far as that goes. I'll ask Al to take a look at it
I mean,
tomorrow and see where the best place
They
would
had
be.
the one that has a little arrow that's going like a snake, and then
Right.
they had the yellow part. I said, well, maybe we could get that on the yellow part to flash at night, well, solar power. But then
Mhm.
somebody was saying, well, if that's a crosswalk, how come you don't have any signs that says crosswalk? I don't know. Can we find out?
I don't know that PennDOT plan well enough to say to you that there is a pedestrian crossing sign that would be on the curb side.
On
That's-
the other side,
Right.
each side of the street. Okay.
Right. I don't know whether that's there or not. Typically it is.
Right.
So I'll check that. Yeah.
Okay. It was brought to my attention about that. I figured, let's see what happens. Thank you. That's it.
If there are other questions for our engineer, we'll move on to our township manager, Mr. George Needles.
Good evening, everybody. My reports are on file in the administrative offices. A couple different items, as Mr. Pierce mentioned, the bond issuance. We have not had the rating come in yet. S&P had required some additional information, and when we spoke to them, they had said that they were a little bit busy and they were going to have to push it back till next week. So we'll be able to get our bond rating next week. I'll let you know how that goes. And as well, there was a technical item that was done with the way that we're doing this. Typically, the bonds are put out with the rating. These were put out with a addendum that's stating that the rating has been applied for. Basically, the reason they did that was so that we can meet all the timelines, even though S&P is slowed down. So it's really just a matter of the second the bond rating comes in, they change it and put the bond rating on it. It's just more procedural. So we are in line to keep that going, to be pricing in August, and that'll be something that we'll have to have some official actions on in the near future. We also have in your binders last week was the draft of the Linwood Heights plan. We really would like to get that adopted next month. So if there's any comments or anything, if you have them, please get them in to Barbara over the next couple weeks. Next month, Steve Barth will be coming in to give you an update of presentation and update of where he is with the LERTA project and kind of what the roadmap of where he'll be going with that. And then the other item is that the interviews for the finance director position have been going along. We have narrowed it down, and we'd like to interview next Tuesday for the next round of the three candidates that have been selected. I know I had spoken last week about trying to get some people at that interviews. 8:30 in the morning.
Talking about the whole board interview them?
This would be the round where it's still being led by Dave Wogum.
Mhm.
So we had talked about having a commissioner or two with myself and Mike Sinaglia. And then this will vet them out to where we bring a candidate or two, well, two candidates to the board to interview.
Yeah, I know Joe's on.
Yeah, I'll take a look. I should be okay to double check. I think it's-
And I'll shoot you the list of questions that we
that's what
came
I
up
was
with.
gonna ask if that- okay.
Get that as well.
Anything else, George?
That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for our township manager? There's no question for our township manager. We'll move on to our commissioner's report, and we'll start with our vice chairman, Commissioner Joe Bacco.
Thank you. Highway Department has been working in the fourth ward at like Eric and Whitney. They should be finishing up replacing some inlets and stuff there. And after that, I think they're going to try to start to get a jump start on the generator job. They're waiting for some parts and stuff to come in there still. The sanitation department, I think the study was someone was like, I want to say following right along checking, the routes and all with a couple of the crews. We'll wait to get them results. Sewer Authority reports on file. They actually sent me a copy of last month's minutes. If anybody wants a copy, I'll forward them. I have.
Any questions for Commissioner Bacco? If not, we'll move on to Commissioner Ed Rakowski.
Thank you. Reports are on file, except for my fire marshal. He had a commitment tonight. I thought we were going to get updated tonight, but we did not. But the emergency manager, they go back into session in September. Everything's been pretty quiet, thank goodness. The Boothwyn Town Center, your report for the month is in the minutes here tonight in your binder. There's a schedule from September to February of 2022 is when we look like we're going to be ending it. Seems like we just started it. We're sending a survey out to the 6,500 residents in the households for the Boothwyn Town Center for the input in the heart and soul, doing it together. That'll be going out shortly. What else we got? Other than that, I think it's pretty quiet. Town Center. Like I said, the emergency management, got the resolutions for the training. I want to thank everybody getting them together, Ray, Barb, and George, and everybody, because you would think PennDOT would make it easy for everybody, but every time they want to train somewhere, they got to redo it. But they did make it easier this time. So any other new projects going down the road on PennDOT's property, it's not so complicated. We just keep moving forward without the resolution. So that is it.
Any questions for Commissioner Rakowski? If not, we'll move on to Commissioner Neary.
Thank you, Mr. President. The financial reports are available. The taxpayers report is going to be adjusted and corrected, correct? Okay. The police department report is available as well. Just as I mentioned, because Nicole was not here, they had a fundraiser Sunday at Bethel Firehouse at Crab Feast, and it looked to be very successful. And I believe that there is another event they're having in October, a pocketbook bingo. Not that maybe any of us are involved in that, but I mean, I might be there, but don't need a pocketbook. I think that's all I have, and I appreciate everybody's patience.
I think they raised about 6,000 on the crab feast. So with that said, is there anything that you would like to report on for Commissioner Whitaker, George?
Just that from the recreation perspective, so the Delco Greenways Grant will have a resolution with that for next month to apply for that funding, and that is a zero match grant potentially. So we're going to try to find a project that lands in their sweet spot. Most likely it'll be coming from the CBL mini park plan that was adopted previously, as that adopted plan was birthed out of the US 322 revitalization plan, which was done in conjunction with the county. So the progression makes sense. The other thing is the kickoff with the HRG for the Master Parks and Recs plan has happened. They came and did a 6-hour tour of the town to look at and discuss various recreational open space assets that we currently have and potential options for the future. And they'll be starting to put that process together, where there'll be a task force made up of members from the community, as well as some outreach events to get public input as they go through that process.
Thank you. Any
I have a
questions?
I was speaking to someone from the softball organization, and they said they wanted to put a shed down on the lower fields. They were told they couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think there was some miscommunication there. It was various people text messaging, some people emailing, some people calling. What I believe Brian last stated to Frank was, why don't you come out, show me where you want it to go. I'll take some pictures. We'll talk to everybody and see if there's any concerns. And if not, go there. If there's concerns, talk it out and try to find another spot.
And they pretty much maintain the fields. Keep their equipment down there would be a lot easier on them. If they're in communication,
I mean, the only spot I see is that grassy knoll past the bleachers. So I think lengthwise, you got plenty of room. Widthwise might be the problem. So, but
hopefully they work
like
it out.
George said, they're going to try to work something out. There's no other questions for George on behalf of Commissioner Whitaker. We'll move on to my report. Don't have too much to report on tonight. Just for disclosure, I did meet with Lisa Catania and Brian Sedell to talk about the Sadler review with the planning board. We came up with a plan. We're going to be reaching out to the planning board, hopefully prior to their next meeting, to give them an update, what we think would be the best path forward. Mr. Needles was also present at the meeting. Our goal is to have a reduced version of a saldo to try to make it a little bit more easier for people to read through it, and also to have appendixes attached to it with other supplemental information that would be pertinent for the saldo process. I don't have anything else to report on. If anybody has any questions for me, I'd be more than happy to take them at this time. All right, there's no other questions for me. Have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight, and thank you for board for being patient also.